Oh, see, now I can see Ben is recording the call. I'm like,
He's
oh,
called me homeless.
don't. I said you look borderline homeless, just that you need a haircut.
I'll get one. I don't get a haircut every 3 days like you do.
Hey, it's 2 weeks, my man.
2 weeks? Who does that?
It's my sister. I text her like, hey, just tell me when to be there. It's like, here, be there at this time. Like, okay.
Got my haircut like
2 weeks ago. 2 months ago?
6 months ago?
Probably 6 months ago. I've been busy. Anyway, welcome to Practical Shooting After Dark. On deck today from Canada Stan, Mr. Jeff.
Hello, everyone.
From South Canada, it's me, Ben. And from south of there, somewhat, but still snowed in and kind of shitty right now,
Yes.
Mr. Joel Park.
Hello, everyone.
All right, guys, you know the rules. Everybody comes here with a topic, fun things that you like to talk about. Who'd like to go first?
Ben Wood, you've got the most interesting thing to talk about.
Do I, though? I mean, yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I find it interesting, yes.
Absolutely.
Maybe amazing.
I did something that I'd never done in my life, and it felt good. It was like walking out of a movie that was shit. You know, like you sit through the first hour and you're just like not having a good time. Like flashbacks to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, you know? Like when I was sitting in that, I'm like, I just don't want to be here anymore. It was kind of like that, but it was at a match. And I'm like, this is just not the place for me. So I left, and it was quite liberating. It was good. It was good for me.
Would you be comfortable telling me more about what led to that decision? What the listeners want to know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've never done that where I'm just like, this match is not for me. In retrospect, I can think of an IDPA state championship I was at that ended up being my last major IDPA match. And I should have cut bait on that one real quick, like way sooner than I did. But yeah, I was at a match that was like, I mean, it was a lot of shit. It was, a lot of shit building. It was like 5 days all in. It's like 5 days to shoot it, which is a long time. It's not like a ton of stages for that. It's 20 stages. Shot over 4 days with the presentation like on another day. So it's like, it's a lot of time. And then it's like, there's no video. And I tried to, by rule, there's no video allowed.
I was not even aware that was a rule. Is that a IPSC rule across the board, or is that a provisional, or what's the?
I think it's complicated. It's an IPSC rule for that particular region, not the whole IPSC region, but like that state. So
it's not just that range; it's that state that has this.
My understanding it's the state, but I think it's also my understanding was it's guys at that range that like the rule or have the rule. And it's for, reasons that they don't want video getting out there into the world. So like the match had an official match photographer or videographer or whatever that only that person was allowed to take video. So I offered to hire another one for the match that would take video, just make sure that they'd get it of me and then never release the video publicly, just use it for training group. And
yeah,
I got a no on that, which, I get that, but that struck me as a bit unreasonable. I don't know. It was a lot of stuff building up, but when I had an encounter with one of the BOCs running the thing, and I was just like, this is not the place for me. I need to not be here. That's what I did. I left, and it was wonderful.
Do you care to share anything else about that interaction, or would you rather not?
I could tell you,
I don't want to put you on the spot too much.
No, I mean, it's in the uncomfortable position. I'm not like, fuck this match and fuck everybody. It's just like, that's not my attitude. It's like, this is not for me. It was kind of, basically one of my scores was fucked up. And I had a nice talk with a man that seemed, he was unable to understand what I was telling him and didn't really want to hear it. And the conversation got to the point where it was, hey, is there anything that I or anyone can say to you that's going to convince you that this is a problem, that the score is messed up? And he looked at me and said, no. And I said, I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm not going to continue this. So away I went. A few guys after the fact like about 10 minutes later, they're like, Ben, you got to file an arbitration. You got to blah, blah. All right. I was, that's going nowhere. And I know that. So I filled out, I've never arbitrated anything, but I filled out an arbitration form, like blah, 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 scores messed up. Here's 15 witnesses or whatever. Here you go. And the RO that accepted it said, thanks for the beer money. And, I got an answer on that one stage later. And I was like, yeah, so now I can take my gun off and stop shooting this. I was like, this is just not for me.
They managed to interview all 15 witnesses in that time?
They didn't interview any, to my knowledge. They didn't even talk to me. There's no headway to be made on this. It was like our BOCs in the US, like our range masters can be a little bit thick sometimes, but if you like pester them a little bit, you're like, no, this is a problem. They're like, I don't know what you want me to do about it. You're like, well, you got option A, B, and C. These are all good options. Like I didn't get a conversation with anybody.
And my understanding was all the competitors on your squad were of the same opinion that your score was incorrect.
Everybody under age 40 knew that that was not even in dispute. That was not disputed. Like no,
everybody was in agreement.
Everybody understand. It was like,
not
hey
correct.
Ben, what happened to your time on the stage? You fucking gun jam or something? I was like, what? Oh, it's like, oh, that doesn't seem right. No, but it was basically like I was in a situation that I didn't want to be in. And it was kind of almost like if you're getting kind of done in like that, you don't really have to consent to it. Like you are your own jailer, people. Like you can just leave and don't go back. This is what took care of IDPA, right? Like 10 years ago when people just stopped going and problem solved. It's done. So problem was solved for me. And there was other stuff let me add some color, some context to this. I played a recording for Jeff before we started of a conversation like one of the range officials had with a guy. And Jeff, what did you think of that conversation? That was on a stage that had changed. What did you think of that?
I've never heard such incompetence.
The range official, okay, there was a stage that changed during the match where it was like, that stage is different. I talked to one of the BOCs running the thing, and I was like, hey, is that stage, like, I think that stage is different, or guys are saying that's different. I walked over and looked at it. In 20 seconds, I was like, yep, that stage has changed from yesterday. I reported this, hey, BOC, I didn't talk to him like that, but I was like, hey, are you aware that this stage has changed? And he's like, well, I've heard rumors of that. I've heard that, but I can't do anything without an official complaint. So,
and it was obvious it was different, right? It was like a no-shoot.
It took me 20 seconds to figure it out, dude. 20 seconds.
Okay.
Stage had changed in a meaningful way where it's like moving targets and no-shoots had moved around on them. It was obvious. 20 seconds to figure that out.
Okay. Very obvious.
I wrote a second arbitration that another guy filed, but I wrote it, and I didn't write it in a terribly nice way, but I wrote it, professional-ish about that stage, just for the lulls, really. I thought it'd be funny. And I
read it. Yeah, you explained it very well.
That was another big shitstorm with so the stage ends up getting pulled. The arbitration was never published. It was supposed to be published. It was never published. The money was handed back to the guy in that case. The stage was pulled. Like that was too big of a problem to ignore. But then Jeff got to hear an audio recording of the BOC running a thing detailing a 3-day investigation into whether or not that stage had changed, including hearing rumors, talking to the range officers, talking to competitors, looking at scoring to see if no-shoot positions had changed in the scorecards, things like this. I mean, seriously, am I exaggerating, Jeff?
Nope.
The guy detailed 3 days, literally 3 days of investigation into whether or not the stage had changed when it took 20 seconds to figure it out. Like, that's what you're dealing with there. So, no muss for me. Like, I need to not be there because I'm gonna freak out dealing with that. So that's how you handle it, guys.
So what's the moral of the story for everyone to take away?
Vote with your feet, and it's great. it was really liberating. It's like, I don't want to be here. I'm going to leave. I don't even care about the results of this match. Like it's it was a weird thing to walk away from a match I'm winning by a lot, just because like I can't deal with the BOCs anymore, and I don't feel like I should have to. It's pretty much where it was at. So that's my story. I'm sure you guys have comments, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but I don't really care. I already got a lot of, you could imagine the comments that I got when I left. You know what I mean? A lot of flack, I'd say, from people in that region about the crybaby Yank that's, leaving. Whatever. My message to you guys is you are your own jailers. You don't have to put up with it. It's not supposed to be that way. It's not supposed to be like that. It really doesn't have to be that way. And if like 5% of you just stop putting up with it, it's going to change.
I'm really amazed that I imagine this is not the first time this is happening. This has been going on for years.
And that play, well, dude, like one of the BOCs, well, actually, the two BOCs that I had a lot of interaction with, it's like, I've been running this for 40 years. It's like, okay. I mean, it's like, that doesn't, I don't think you're capable. I told one of them, like, you're not like capable of doing this. One guy after the fact came and spoke to me, and he's just like, he wanted to like be nice to me to my face. And it was kind of like, hey, so what do you think that every single person under age 40 told me that like any sort of protest or arbitration was pointless with you, that you're never going to listen. What do you think about that? And it was just like talking to a wall. It's like the general consensus is that this is not fair. You know what I mean? It's like, and like that, none of that was taken on board, I suppose. I made a few pretty, Jeff, did you read some remarks I made on Facebook about this?
I absolutely did.
I sure did also.
Were those cutting?
It was, but it's truthful.
There was nothing. I didn't say anything mean.
No.
You were just stating facts.
Yes.
This is facts. Like, this is not the way it's supposed to be run. I don't think these guys are capable. I'm out. Like, that's it.
Like, these are the facts from someone who's not living in this world thinking it's normal.
Yes, it's absolutely not normal.
Yeah.
I think that was what that blew my mind also, because I chatted with one of Ben's friends that was at that match, and he was explaining the interactions to me, and it didn't seem like real life. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, what? This really happened? I'm like, I expect like you're just telling me a story. It's gonna be like I got you or something.
Nope.
It's like,
no, I mean, I
just didn't understand it.
I've beat my head against like the BOCs running stuff in the US, but it's like they can be unreasonable and they can be dicks, but like a certain amount of arm twisting, or you have enough people standing up and telling them like, hey, this is what's going on. This is the situation. And eventually they have to listen. I've well-run matches are where guys are more proactive, where they like kind of sort out problems before they become real problems. Like I've never seen one stage that got tossed where it's like it goes on for hours and hours and hours, where everybody that goes through there is like, yeah, this stage has changed, and nobody does anything. Nobody.
Yeah, like I was thinking, like making ready. I'd say to RO like, hey, this stage is not the same my buddy shot.
No, but like nothing happened. It was like it didn't make any sense to me. I mean, there's a third arbitration that was handed in and ultimately not accepted. I wasn't involved in this one. I mean, I thought it was funny, but I wasn't involved in it, about a stage that changed. And and you read it and it like has one of the BOCs in quotations, like quote, like none of the top guys shot the stage, earlier in the match or something. Yeah. Like none of the top guys shot the stage this way, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
The reasoning was nobody relevant enough to win shot it. So the people that are likely to win, as long as they shoot it the same way, it doesn't matter what everybody else does. Is that
right?
Correct? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
That's not my words. I wasn't involved in this whole situation, but that was what the arbitration form read. the arbitration was rejected because it was filed like 6 minutes too late or something. Like, this is handed to us too late. Now, in that set of facts where you have that stuff coming out of one of the BOC's mouths, like the guy, like the shot caller, he's like, I don't care about this because this isn't a serious problem because nobody relevant shot it, is essentially the message. And somebody arbitrates that, essentially. Like, to me, the relevant issue is not like when the arbitration was filed. Like, I really don't care about that. It would be like the other stuff that I think is relevant, but not there. For them, it's like, oh, well, this is 5 minutes too late, so fuck off. It's kind of the attitude. I was not even present for any of that stuff. I was gone. But yes, I found better things to do. So it was not a problem for me, but I do hope they get it sorted out there because they've got a lot going for the program in that place.
Well, it's been 40 years. I don't see it sorting itself out anytime soon.
Well, it's not going to sort itself out, but people get old and then they like go do other things eventually, or can't last forever. It just can't.
Move to Hong Kong, get some cats.
Oh, that's a Pinto joke. Yeah, it's like it was kind of like interacting with Vince Pinto. I'll be honest with you. Like, that dude is just insufferable. Doesn't care at all about having things fair. Are you still barred from shooting matches in Hong Kong because of him, Jeff?
I don't know what official capacity he serves in now, so I don't think he can. I should look into it now, actually.
You actually probably should.
I really should.
I might be barred from a different region real soon. About the time this podcast drops.
Oh, boy.
Not that that's going to be a problem for me.
You and I can be PNGs for entire regions. That's great.
Well, should be good. Alrighty. Jeff, what do you got?
I have a show and tell, I suppose. I have new toys.
Are those really expensive glasses?
They are, but as everyone knows, I'm cheap, so I got these off eBay.
Awesome.
Okay, so how much are those things normally?
I think retail, these things are about, what, 800?
And for the people who... Dude, they're crazy money, Joel. Wait, for the people who couldn't see the audio listeners.
Ah, yes, audio listeners. I have a pair of Pilas. So, out of the box, that's what they look like, with that fork kind of temple piece.
All right, so why should I buy those? Because I could buy like 4 pairs of Oakleys at retail for that. You could.
But honestly, it's one of those things where I cannot explain the difference it makes. You just have to try them. It's kind of like the first time you put on Oakleys compared to, say, a pair of shop glasses, things look a lot better.
Are you using these to flex on poor people, Chevy?
That's always a side benefit, isn't it?
What a dick.
But when you put these on, like, honestly, things look clearer, things are crisper. They come in different shades for different conditions and different target types. And these particular purple shaded lenses I have really make targets stand out and pop from a green background. And you know what? It's one of those things where I'm not able to explain it. And if you can find someone that has a pair, try them on, see what you think. And I guess with the temple design, when I have these on, it feels like I have nothing on. All right, they're very adjustable. The way they hug my head and sit on my nose, it's like I'm not wearing anything. And you know what? I love these things. I use them indoors, outdoors, and yeah, they're fantastic.
Do you wear ear muffs or ear plugs? Are those... Go ahead, sorry.
I wear earplugs. But the arms themselves are thin enough that you could wear earmuffs on top, and it's not a problem.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
So is that a prism type of, like the Oakley prism type of thing that makes the colors pop then?
It is,
like,
yeah.
Like that style. Okay.
Yeah. So my set came with a set of purple lenses and 2 different shades of brown that also make targets and steel pop. So it mutes greens quite well. It's kind of like the trail prisms, which I've tried. But these ones to me are better yet.
Cool.
Yeah. And they're expensive and, not a poor.
You're a cheap fuck, though, Jeff. Let's be real.
Absolutely.
I'm actually shocked to see you with those things.
Would I pay full retail for them? Honestly, probably not. But
What do you
look
mean
around.
probably not? There is no way.
Yeah, there's no way.
There's no way on this earth.
But yeah. There you go.
All right, Joel. Talk
Man,
to me.
it's a tough act to follow. So
Awesome. Good luck.
I want to talk about something that happened to me in a match last month, and that is getting a reshoot. So in the last year, I've received 2 reshoots. Both went well, and there's a lot of jokes that people say about like the reshoot gods or reshoots not going well, and I think there are reasons for that. So the main thing I think people miss is to treat it like it's a stage they've never shot before. So to give you a little bit of context, I shot it was a section match.
Wait a second, Joel. Before you
Yes.
continue, are you stealing this topic from a match talk through I uploaded?
No. Did you? When did you upload it? Or what is
Like
it?
4 days ago. The timing is suspicious, sir.
Oh. No, actually I did not.
Okay, carry on.
Which one is that? Because I haven't listened to it. If that's
The
the
Buenos
case.
Aires one.
Oh, it's like 22 minutes. I listened to a couple minutes of it, and then I
Well, yeah,
I
you
got a call at work.
dudes want your content, don't you?
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know what you said. So anyway, did you ever reshoot at that match?
Not exactly. I had they started me, then stopped me, then I went again. Sort. It was
Oh,
essentially the same as a reshoot.
that does
You
not
know?
sound like a reshoot.
No, it was like they got the start signal. I ran a few feet to go grab my gun, and then
Oh, and then he
stop.
started you too fast or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I had a reshoot where I shot the whole stage, and when the RO went to call back the time, the timer had died. It was blank, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit crushed.
I feel like 0.01 is an acceptable time in that situation.
Exactly. So I was disappointed. I was competing against someone that I was squatted with that I really wanted to do well against, and so my whole thought was I just want to match the performance I just had. I was really happy with that. I'm not going to push to do better because that run was at the level I want to perform at. So loaded my mags, asked to be bumped to the bottom of the shooting order, and I started visualizing the stage that I just shot again. It was like I'd never seen it before. It's like, where do I want to reload? Where are the targets to be? Where do I have my gun up? Where's this? Everything step by step. So I was on deck. I walked it again. I was air gunning it. And when I shot the stage the second time, it was slightly better. But it wasn't because I was assuming it would go well because I'd shot it before. So my reshoot last month was on a classifier. It was due to an unpasted target. First run was very well. It wasn't a hundo, but it was probably M class. It was good. And so I was like, all right, whatever, I'll do it again. And so it was the same deal. I treat it like I'd never shot it before, visualized everything. And I think that's really important because guys just assume that they're going to do well, or like, oh, I know this, or oh, I could have went a little bit faster, or oh, I think I left a little bit there. I could pick that up. It's like bad idea. So Ben, was that what you said in your talk through that I haven't listened to yet? Anything you want to add?
Basically just shoot it again. Don't do anything stupid.
There you go.
So yeah. Well done, sir.
All right, I'll listen to your talk through now.
No, you don't have to do that. Well, I'm overloading you with
got the lesson already.
I'm overloading you with content, bro.
I like it.
All right. Just wanted to shoot you a belated thanks for the class in Brisbane. I was told you would find fundamental issues with my shooting very easily. You did not disappoint. A quick question, not sure if it's suitable for the podcast. I've determined it is, by the way. If you were moving to the U.S. and wanted to shoot USPSA, what do you think are the best places to move? As you're quite the foodie, do any of those places stand out in terms of quality of life in respects other than shooting? Okay, yeah. Also, sorry for your arbitration experience from what, I'll skip that a little bit. I found it quite disappointed they acted that way. I hope it doesn't discourage you from returning in the future. Anyway.
Oh, word travels fast.
It sure does. Anyway, so if you're moving to the U.S., where would you go? Jeff, you're quite the traveler. And you're also a foodie.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think? Where would you send somebody? Because I've had this conversation with a few people from overseas, and I want to see if we're on the same page.
let's start with food. For food, the best food I've had in the U.S. is in Chicago.
Okay, well, that's not going to be too conducive to shooting.
Exactly.
That's not favorable.
It really isn't. But yeah, like can't really top Chicago food. Other than that, you know what? Like, there's good food anywhere if you look hard enough. So focus on where to go for the shooting part. I haven't been to Texas myself, but I feel like that's the place I would go.
Basically live in Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, without having been there, I can tell you, you live in a place that's very similar to Texas.
Yeah, I would. I think I like the culture there, and mostly because, to my understanding, with the three major cities in Texas, you're going to find something that works for you.
Yes. So the basic recommendation for me would be like the middle part of the U.S., like anywhere in that strip, Minnesota, Wisconsin, south to Texas. There's lots of options there. Texas is pretty easy to recommend. This guy, if he's from the climate in Brisbane, he probably would find the climate in Texas more or less okay. So he could deal with that. And the gun law situation, the economic setup in Texas is pretty good. So that's an easy place to recommend. I mean, obviously California is out, like no. And I think the Northeast of the country's out as well. But I don't love Florida. A lot of people like Florida. I don't get that, honestly.
Phoenix is very favorable for shooting. I have a friend that lived there.
Yes.
You could shoot a match like every weekend. You think like where I'm at in Omaha, Nebraska, like, oh, there's a GM. Oh, that's a big deal. You go there, it's like, who cares? There's everybody and their brother's a GM. It's like some of the best guys in the country.
It also depends on what you want to do for travel. Like, I live near the Minneapolis airport, and that is probably one of the most favorable airports in North America for travel, I would say. You could do straight flights to like Paris, Amsterdam, Tokyo, all over the fucking place. And then you can get anywhere in North America that you'd care to go in like 3.5 or 4 hours with a straight flight usually. So that's pretty good. I like that.
Seattle was great for food as well, but Washington just fucked itself.
They just fucked the gun laws there, so that's game over. Game over. Wansek might as well move to Canada.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, maybe he will. Hard to say. All right, so we can all firmly recommend Texas. And from a gun law and like legal situation, Florida's easy to recommend too. I don't really like Florida. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think the ranges there are like generally pretty bitchy. That's been my experience. Okay, well, that's all I got. Anything else to add, guys?
No, I don't think so.
Joel, you're not touching that, are you?
I am not touching that. You're correct, sir.
Why?
Because I chose not to. I do like Arizona, though. If I had to take a place, Phoenix would be my choice. I've been to Rio Salado several times to shoot Area 2 there. I like that range a lot. Like a lot of the top guys are there, and they have matches all over. So I don't think it's smart, but if you wanted to shoot a match probably every night of the week, you could find something, whether it might be an indoor match or I shot a steel match. They had like these huge, almost like floodlights kind of, where you could shoot, at night, did steel matches and stuff. So it was like, if you want to shoot, there's a place to go.
Yes.
Shooting that many matches isn't productive, but I mean,
Vegas is another good option if you want to live in Vegas. But look, the legal situation there is good, depending. All right. Well, thanks guys for another bang up show. Listeners, if you have a question you'd like the answer to, go to bensigger.com. Send me your question or your complaints or whatever nasty things you want to say to me. Fire away.